Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Time, Talent, Treasure Radio. I'm your host, Jared Sebesta of Taatjes Financial Group, where we build purposeful retirement plans. At Taatjes Financial Group, we believe retirement planning is so much more than just preparing financially. Our goal is to help retirees and pre-retirees steward their time, talent, and treasure. We have the tools and proven process to make sure your retirement plan delivers the greatest purpose, impact, and legacy. If you need help building a purposeful retirement plan specific for your life and your retirement, give us a call. Our number is 320-222-4236. You can request a meeting online at our website, taatjesfinancial.com. And if you're in the neighborhood, just stop by our office. We're located on 19th Avenue Southwest in Wilmer, building purposeful retirement plans. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Again, we call this show Time, Talent, Treasure. And I just mentioned our website, taatjesfinancial.com. Go there, check it out. That's the easiest way to request a meeting, but also you can kind of read the background. What is the foundation by which we operate? And you'll see kind of the time, talent, treasure framework explained on there in greater detail. And this is really kind of the basis by which we look at our business and look at clients for that matter. So I encourage you to go check that out. Ben Taatjes joins me on the show here, and that is kind of our mantra. In fact, when we named the show, Ben, it was kind of a no-brainer. This was going to be the whole message that we send people is this idea of time, talent, and treasure.
Yeah, Jared, this show tends to, I think we focus more on the treasure piece, certainly, the financial piece, because at the end of the day, we do work in a financial business. So, of course, that's what our people here are doing most days. They're meeting with clients, prospective clients. They're helping them as best they can, making sure that their life goals are met with their financial goals. So that's really why we've named this, Time, Talent, Treasure Radio. We do focus on the treasure. The time and talent piece really comes in, it's almost 6 years ago now, I wrote a book, Repurposed, which many of our listeners have read and understand the concept behind it. But really that book really brings in the time and talent piece. One thing I've got in the habit of doing, Jared, is asking clients of those 3 T's, and you'll see 3 T's right in our logo. I'll say, of the time, talent, and treasure, which one is the most important to you? And to this day, Jared, I've asked that question now hundreds of times, and I've never heard anyone say treasure. But yet we focus so much on the financial side, and that I think should tell you something. When you get to a point when you're looking back on your life, you will not look at the financial piece. You will not look at the treasure piece. You will look at how you stewarded your time, how you used your talents, those abilities that God gave you, to see, did I live this life well, right? And that's why I think this show is we do focus on numbers. We do focus on financial, primarily the treasure piece, but it's so important that we remember, most importantly, those other 2 T's.
I think holistic planning is a term that gets thrown around a lot, and we probably have used it occasionally here on the show, but really, again, this whole idea, this really does cover the whole retiree and pre-retiree's lifetime, talent, treasure. That really does encompass really who they are.
Yeah, holistic planning, Jared, for me, when I see that on other people's websites, I usually think, they're selling life insurance too. Right. I just see that, and too many times it's like, we're going to look at the whole person, and it ends up being, life insurance and mutual funds. We live that. I mean, it is very much holistic, meaning I want people's lives to be better. Right. That does not mean a life insurance product. Sometimes it might, if that is the best way to accomplish a goal. But every single dollar somebody has needs to tie into a life goal. So if it's a retirement plan and you're building up income, right? We've got to separate wealth and income, and we come back to building up an income plan that can replace their paycheck when it's time for them to no longer work for money, or they're ready to retire. That's key for me, and those are the meetings that we really enjoy here.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, our show is called Time, Talent, Treasure. If you ever want to go back and listen to a show, Taatjes Financial is a great way to find our show, but we're also on iTunes. Also, we're on YouTube, so it's the best way to keep in touch with everything that we talk about on our show. All right, Ben, so today, again, kind of sticking with the treasure piece, we do try to keep this show a little bit more financial. Last week, we talked about how the Fed raised interest rates 2 weeks ago and how that kind of played into maybe a portfolio plan or maybe the psyche or mindset of a retiree. What's happening this week?
Well, if you listen to that show that we had before, it was, hey, yeah, the rates are certainly moving up again, and that's been what's everybody's talking about, but yet the markets have held up really well. Well, that changed a little bit last week. And again, that was one of the cautions I had is all of this information takes time to digest. So here we are sitting, in early August 2023, and the markets have definitely had a little bit of a pullback, and that's what we saw last week. Still positive on the year. What I think is the most interesting thing this year is just this huge separation between the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the NASDAQ. I'm still bringing up to clients as we meet, and they're all very surprised to hear this. We had a show on this a while back, but I'll give our listeners a reminder. The NASDAQ is very dominated by more tech names, certainly more growth, the growthier side of the market, whereas the Dow Jones tends to have less of those names. If you look at the S&P 500, it tends to have some of both. It's kind of how it ends up looking. And again, I would encourage you to look at the actual companies in the Dow, look at the companies in the NASDAQ and the S&P when you're making investment decisions, because what people don't realize, the S&P 500, Jared, is actually, I think it's like 503 stocks right now, but of those 503 companies, 7 of them have done the lion's share of the growth this year.
Sure.
And I think it was a show a little while back that we had, I think it was mid-June of this year, where if you removed 7 big companies out of that index, the index was negative halfway through the year. But yet if you put those stocks into the index, it was positive by a pretty significant margin. So it's just important. And why I bring in all these numbers up and why I'm sharing these statistics and numbers with you is because it's so important that you understand what you are investing in. It is not as easy as just taking somebody's advice and just believing it. You need to understand for yourself. One of the things I love to do is, I have a heart of a teacher, Jared, and going back to listening to Dave all those years and being, I met Dave. Some of the things that he shared with me is make sure that we have a heart of a teacher, and we do. I think when our advisors sit down with clients, we explain things. I want our clients not just to trust us, but to trust us and understand what they're really what they're investing in.
I just had a conversation today with somebody who was considering working with our firm, and I was asking them a number of questions, kind of where they were in their retirement plan. And the answers I got, I really don't know. And they were working with a professional. And I also asked them, how are you paying your current professional in your life? And they really didn't know that either. And so I just think there's a lot of things that people can really kind of tie up the loose ends. They maybe don't need to understand the entire crux of like global economics, but how your portfolio is working and operating and why you're in what you're in. I think that's a question that everybody has to have the answer to.
Yeah, there's certain tools and techniques that, over 20 years of working with clients we've developed and understand how to use. I'm certainly not saying that every client needs to understand all of those and stay up on all the continuing education, all the things that we do.
Right.
But they should have a basic understanding of how much risk am I taking, what are my financial objectives, and what am I doing to try to meet those? Those are keys that I think every person needs to know. And touching on that last piece is, how are you paying your professional, right? So you should understand, what am I getting for that service? Right. And is it worth the value, right, of what I'm getting? So I think those are all really important things that every client should understand.
Absolutely. Ben, thank you so much. Well, are you ready to begin building a purposeful retirement plan specific for your life and your retirement? If so, we've got a number of ways you can set up a no-cost, no-obligation meeting. First, give us a call at 320-222-4236. Go to our website, taatjesfinancial.com, and request a meeting there. Or if you live in West Central Minnesota, just stop by our office. We're located on 19th Avenue Southwest in Wilmer. Office hours, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. I'm Jared Sebesta, joining you on this episode of Time, Talent, Treasure Radio. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Securities offered through Avantax Investment Services. Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Avantax Advisory Services. Insurance services offered through an Avantax affiliated insurance agency.